Since 1945, Weatherby's been building the finest firearms and ammunition in the world. And today, we're proud to continue that legacy from our facility in Sheridan, Wyoming. This is On Our Mark, the Weatherby Podcast.
Welcome back to On Our Mark, the Weatherby Podcast, where we dive into the stories, skills, and passions that fuel the hunting and outdoor world. Today, we're stepping behind the lens with one of the most talented outdoor photographers in the industry, Stephen Drake. Welcome, Stephen. Known for capturing the raw beauty of wild places and the authentic moments of the hunt, Stephen's work tells the stories that words can't. In this episode, we'll explore the creative behind the camera, talking about how hunting and photography collide, the art of storytelling in the outdoor industry, and what it really takes to chase wild moments both in the field and behind the lens. Whether you're a hunter, a photographer, or simply someone who loves the outdoors, this conversation will open your eyes to the dedication and creativity it takes to share the hunt in a way that inspires others. So let's jump in. Stephen, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Did you write that?
I did not.
No.
I mean, yes.
It was very heartfelt. I was like, wow.
I edited a little bit.
Okay.
I've been using some Chat GPT for the for the intros, and it's powerful.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, it knew who you were.
Yeah.
Kind of a big deal. Next to you is Koby Owens, our very own.
Good to be back.
Tyler,
I'm
welcome
here.
back.
Yeah.
You're married.
I'm married, yeah.
Last
Yeah,
time we
it's
did this, you weren't married.
I
This
was
is
not
true.
married. It's been great. It's been the best week of my life. So, no, it's been great.
That's awesome.
The wedding turned out right. No rain, so it was great.
Love it. We're just going to jump in
Let's do
because, and I'm actually going to start with Koby because Koby put a little like stuff to talk about. But before in case you don't know who Stephen Drake is, he's what, as Koby says, a lot of the reason that Koby is here has a lot to do with, I think, an image that you captured.
Absolutely.
Would you tell us about that, Kobe?
Yeah.
Is that embarrassing?
No, not at all. I've already told him this a number of years back, but yeah, a single image of Drake's single-handedly changed the course of my life, I say. I don't remember, it was 17 or 18 when he took that bull picture with the shed on the ground, about then.
Yeah, about that.
So I just graduated high school, and didn't know what I was doing with my life in college, and had picked up a camera a number of years before that, and I'd been following Drake on Instagram for a while, and I saw that photo, and I grew up hunting. I'm like, whoa, I can combine hunting and photography into one, and just like light bulb moment. And from then on, it was just like camera came with me everywhere, and I like to say it single-handedly changed the course of my life. I don't think if I saw that picture, I'd have gone down the road that I did. So I'd like to think that now, almost 10 years later, that maybe one of my images could do that for someone. So,
Stephen, how's that make you feel?
Oh, it feels great, man. Yeah. It was so wild when I shot that photo. And just to clarify, you're talking about the shed with the bull in the back.
yes.
It's so wild. Like, I was out in the winter and I found an elk shed, which I'm like, oh my God, I found an elk shed. And then there happened to be this pretty giant bull right behind him. And I think the bull was sick or something because this partly comes down to just like spending so much time out there that you stumble into these moments. But yeah, there's this big 6-point elk shed with this like big like 7x7 right behind it. And I took this photo and I was like, oh, that's really cool, but I didn't really think anything of it. Posted it to Instagram, and before long it's got like 4,000 likes. And I, at the time I was getting like 50 likes on each photo on my Instagram page. And then yeah, that kind of became like the shot that really kind of pole vaulted me forward in a lot of ways. But yeah, it was so wild in the moment because that bull, I swear he must have been blind, or he must have been on the decline or something, because he did not care about me.
He just hung.
He just was hanging around. Yeah. Like he knew I was there, but I could hear wolves howling in the background. And so there's wolves around. And I think, I like to think that bull looked at me and he's like, oh, you're not a threat. Maybe he's like, oh, you're a photographer.
Those guys can't shoot.
Yeah, those guys can't shoot. Yeah.
Mother Nature can be brutal, so it's just that winter. So
Yeah.
So what was there a singular image or time? Like, what was your inception point to be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start documenting hunting through visual.
I mean, so it really, like if we rewind way back to literally my first day ever bow hunting elk, my dad and I are creeping through the woods. I think I was like 15 at the time. We didn't really know what we were doing. We had a Hoochie Mama squeeze elk call. There was a chance of rain, so my dad and I were both wearing like full rain gear. It was like non-breathable rain gear. Like we didn't know, but it was like September 5th, so it was 80 degrees. We're sweating. Anyway, we're creeping along. My dad's right behind me, and it's like mid-morning, and I'm like looking through the woods, looking through kind of like a piece of a leg of an elk or something. And all of a sudden he whispers, he's like, "Steve, stop." And again, he's maybe 5 yards behind me. So I stop, and I'm just like frozen, just looking for that piece of elk. And then he says in a more normal voice, he's like, "No, like look up." And I said, "Look down." And I look down, and literally right at the base of my feet is this giant 7-point elk shed. And it was white and it was chewed up, but just huge. And in that moment, it actually scared me. I was like, holy smokes, like we're hunting elk. Like there's an elk this big, if not bigger, living in these woods. And actually, it legitimately terrified me. And it was so interesting. And I've felt this feeling many times since. But so I grew up skiing and ski racing and doing a lot of backcountry skiing. And like the only time I really felt like this surge of adrenaline where it legitimately like scared me at times or like really put you out of your comfort zone was skiing. And then I also found it in hunting. And so like I grew up a skier, and I really found this love for skiing and the outdoors through that, and then putting yourself in wild places and having these experiences. And then I experienced it in hunting. And again, my first day ever bow hunting, I experienced that, and it hooked me deep. And then actually that evening while my dad and I were out, he called in with Hoochie Mama elk call. We called in this big 6-point to like 15 yards, and I was so terrified I couldn't even draw my bow. I was just shaking so bad I couldn't even draw my bow. And then we had another bull that same evening run by at like 70 yards with 13 cows, and it was a big 7-point. And so that was my first day ever bow hunting elk. So like it
epic.
Really, super epic. But it just totally hooked me, and it was just like, oh, okay, like these types of experiences, like I can find them not just in skiing but in hunting. And then.
So that set the hook for hunting.
That totally set the hook for hunting. But
Okay.
honestly, it did kind of set the hook for photography. It wasn't long after that I picked up a camera, really as a way just to capture my hunts. And actually, when I went to college, so I grew up in Helena, Montana, and went to college in Bozeman, Montana, which is like 2 hours away. And I grew up hunting mainly with my dad, my mom as well a number of times. And we would always just have these really cool encounters with elk. And then when I went to college, I was like, wow, geez, like we're 2 hours away. I'm just not really able to have these experiences with them anymore. And so they bought me a camera. It was just this point and shoot with a zoom, like nothing fancy. And I was like, oh, sweet. Now I have a way to just document my hunts and be able to share them with my family. That was the whole goal. Just like share these cool moments that we used to have together with my parents. And Facebook, it was kind of in its inception. Instagram, a couple years later, like just started. So I started posting my stuff on there. Being in Bozeman, which is kind of a hub for a lot of outdoors companies.
Kind of a hub.
Yeah.
It's like the Silicon Valley.
hub.
Yeah,
of hunting.
it absolutely is. Yeah. So that was 2008 that I moved to Bozeman? 2009, I guess. Anyway, going to college, my first day at college, I was taking a business 101 class, and we had a guest speaker come, and he was a guy that was working in the hunting outdoor space, and he was just kind of talking about his life and kind of what he was doing with the camera. And I was the only hunter in the class. It was like a classroom there was one other hunter, the guy that actually ended up working at Stone Glacier for a long time, but him and I really, really hit it off. And ended up through him getting a job at Mystery Ranch Backpacks like 6 months later. And so Mystery Ranch was kind of the first company I worked with that kind of gave me a platform. Like it was me and this other guy were like, there was 2 people in the whole office that hunted, and they were just kind of launching hunting packs or taking military packs and trying to cross them over into hunting. Yeah. And so that kind of gave me a platform to be able to share some of these experiences just through blogs. I mean, back then it was
Blogs were big, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And and then I don't know, then fast forward, and then again being in Bozeman, like got introduced to Sitka. Sitka flew me down to SHOT Show in Vegas, which is like a big industry shooting, hunting, outdoor trade show. And they flew me down for 24 hours, and they said, we want you to go down, just whatever, have the time of your life. I wasn't 21 yet, but So I didn't quite have the time of my life, but the goal was to look at the hunting space, because like the core of the hunting industry is at SHOT Show, or at least at the time. And they're like, we want you to like look at it and see all the things that's wrong with it, and then like we're gonna give you a whole set of gear and a little bit of money, and like go out and shoot epic photos and just do what you do. And it was pretty fascinating to go to SHOT Show, because like right when you walked in,
so they sent you to SHOT Show to like ascertain for yourself like what's wrong, what's right, and then just go out and do better.
So I'm jumping ahead of myself a little bit. So like kind of when I first started getting into photography, it was all about just like capturing these really cool experiences that I was having to be able to share them back with my parents. And you know, in that time between doing that and then going to SHOT Show, like that was what my photography was. It was capturing all these other moments that happen on the hunt. It's not just about the kill. Yeah. Like, even though, yes, that is the end goal, like there's just so many other cool, epic moments that happen along the way. And one analogy I use is in, I think, 2011, I drew a cool elk tag in Montana, and I hunted 45 days until I killed the bull.
Dang.
Which is like, must not have been a very good hunter, but... But anyway, so the kill was 1/45 of that entire experience.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what else? So when I think of photography in hunting, it's everything else. Like if you kill something, that's icing on the cake. And again, as hunters, and obviously you guys as a rifle company, like the goal is to like harvest something with this weapon. But like for me, the goal is to just capture epic imagery regardless of a kill or not. So anyway, so now we fast forward to SHOT Show. I go to SHOT Show. Right when I walk in, there's like this giant banner that's like, I don't know, like 100 feet wide by 30 feet tall. And it's just like this guy holding this massive, it's probably a 250-inch whitetail, clearly a high fence.
Yeah.
Even back in 2010, I was like, that's not legit. Like I didn't quite know what that all looked like, but I was like, something doesn't seem right. And the tongue was hanging out, but they like edited it. Oh. And you could tell it was edited.
You could see like where they clipped it.
Yeah, you could see where they clipped it, and it just did not look. And I was just like, huh.
The clone tool wasn't as good back then.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Fix it in post, right?
Yeah. But then the guy that's holding the trophy, or the buck, he's just got this like, he honestly looked like he was taking a poop. He just like had this like kind of like stern look on his face, and he was just kind of grimacing. It's just like, man, dude, like in that moment,
all that antler was probably hard. He was probably
like, maybe, yeah, but like it was just like, I was like, this is so like not, just everything about it is inauthentic, which is a very overused word. But back then, like nobody was really focused on the full experience, the authentic experience of hunting. It was really, really guided towards, I guess, like just high fence. I don't know. I mean, just everything you saw was like just grip and grins. There were so many just really untasteful grip and grins, like tongues hanging out, lots of blood. And it's just like, man, the reason I love to hunt, like, yes, that is the end goal, but it's not that. It's these cool, amazing experiences we get to have in the woods, in the mountains, with some of our closest people, our closest friends. So to me, that's what it was all about. And going to SHOT Show and like seeing, it's like, oh, this is what the hunting industry, this is how it's being presented. Like, and Sika's like, we need to change that. And so, yeah, over the course of, I mean, I've been shooting photography and film and stuff with them for 15 years since then. And you look at the hunting industry now, I mean, it's like everybody's focused on just capturing just beautiful imagery and like showcasing hunting in a far different way than I think it was back in the 2000s and 90s for sure. So,
yeah, I totally agree. That's probably early 2000s is when I got into hunting. My background was bicycles and motorcycles, kind of like yours was skiing. And I remember coming into the space, starting out as a bow hunter and like looking at gear. I was going to get some rain gear. I'm like, I did a lot of up the mountain pursuits, backcountry stuff, but not with a rifle. I'm like, all this gear is terrible. It was so bad back then. It's come so far now, but it's wild. Speaking of gear,
yeah,
let's talk about that a little bit. How do you gear up for if you're going to be out documenting a hunt? Like what's your mindset? Obviously, there's a lot involved, but let's just pretend that we're going on an elk hunt, backcountry elk hunt. What
what's in your gear bag? I guess both on the photography side, and you can get as specific as you want, and just on the general gear side.
Yeah, so just general gear side. I mean, I'm basically going hunting, but I'm just not the one shooting.
Yeah,
So
it's everything but a gun.
Yeah, it's everything but a gun. Maybe I'll let the hunter carry the game bags, but but I mean, at the end of the day, weight is everything, and so I do try to go as light as humanly possible without sacrificing comforts or food and water. But like, I'm like always thinking like, man, if I ever did a hunt and I didn't pack a camera, I would have like the lightest backpack on the planet.
Oh, I know it.
But yeah, but and actually one question I get asked all the time is like, hey, like I'm going to photograph my buddy's hunt. Like it's a backpack hunt. Like which backpack should I bring? Should I get a camera backpack? And I'm like, nope, just bring your regular hunting pack. Your pack that's comfortable, that can be a load hauler, can do all the things. And then people are like, well, how do I carry my camera gear? I'm like, well, when you spend $3,000 on a camera, you better hope it's not just going to break if it sees a speck of dust or something. So it's like, just keep them in the lid, carry them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But speaking specifically to camera gear, and we can dive into the weeds a ton here, and I'm sure Koby can interject plenty also here. But I guess, okay, probably the number one thing is you have to have your camera out and accessible to be shooting. Like if it's buried in your backpack, you know, if you spend $5,000 and buy this fancy camera and then you leave it in your backpack, you're never going to shoot with it.
Yep.
Like you always got to have it out. You always got to have it out shooting. And so, for me personally, I run 2 Sony A7R5 bodies on me. There's a couple different ways to carry your camera. So like the traditional way of just using a neck strap is kind of like gone.
Yeah.
There's just way better ways to do it. You could do that, but you might strangle yourself.
And it's just always swinging around.
Yeah, just always swinging and dangling. And so what I use, and I think these guys use this too, but it's called the cotton carrier. Mm-hmm. They make both a chest harness as well as a shoulder strap harness. But basically, there's a base plate that you put on the bottom of your camera, and then that mounts directly to either the chest strap or the shoulder strap on, like that you have on you.
Yeah.
I've always said since I started using one of those, that was the number one photography tool I ever purchased. It's better than any lens I ever bought because I wasn't missing moments. Before I had one of those, camera was in the backpack, like you were saying, and you're missing those moments. So that was like one of the biggest things to like help my career. I felt like is having it out and ready.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where, I mean, again, we're going down rabbit holes here, but like off the subject of specifically what I carry, well, the other camera I carry, I should say, is my iPhone. And it's pretty insane the quality of footage that you can get with your phones. Yeah. I would say the photo quality is like meh, but like video is pretty insane. And there's, I mean, you can shoot an Apple log. Like for people that are interested, you could download something called, what was it, Blackmagic?
The Blackmagic.
Yeah, Blackmagic.
Yeah, the Blackmagic app, and you can shoot in log and just like have full manual control, and like the footage is going to look insane. And like my new iPhone 16 Pro, it's got a 1x lens, a 5x lens, and then like a wide, and they all look pretty dang good. And again, the beauty of it is it's tiny, it lives in your pocket, it's always accessible. Most of us use our phones for navigation, so we always have our phone. It's probably like lives in our vinyl harness, and so yeah, I end up filming a lot of stuff with my phone these days, horizontal, vertical, even stuff that ends up being in like films. It's like, oh, that was an iPhone shot. People are like, really? Like, and you can't even tell. So from a video perspective, the iPhones are pretty insane. But what I primarily do, so most of what I do is photography. Like I would say that's kind of the meat and potatoes of the business side of things that I do. I do a lot of filming as well, mainly for like my YouTube channel. And so the reason behind the Sony A7R5 is it does really good on both photography and video. There's other cameras that are great, but like that one to me is just like, that's kind of the best of both worlds for sure. Something like the Sony A7S3, like I ran that camera for 3 years, love it. It's amazing video camera, but like the photos frankly suck. And so like, and maybe it's my background too, like coming from, like being a professional photographer for a long time. Like when you pick up that camera, it's like, oh, the footage, like the film is so sweet, but then when you take a photo and it's like garbage, Like nobody else might notice, but like I would look at that
You'll
and be
know.
like, ugh, like this could have been so much better. Like why did I? So that's where I'm at now. I'm like, I basically retired that camera.
Nice.
But
Lenses.
lenses,
Well, like, okay, there's a lot of lenses. I'm sure you have a ton of lenses. But like, what's your like 2 go-to lenses? Like you're not leaving without them.
it's ever evolving. But so if I'm doing a hunt that is my own hunt, or basically the lens that I always bring with me no matter what, it's the 35 mil prime. It's a little f1.8. Thing's like $300. It's tiny, and it's got a really close like zoom or like focus distance, so you can basically get macro photography with it. And it's $300, and it's just tiny, and it produces just really epic
So
images.
sharp.
Yeah, it's so sharp. So that's kind of my one lens that just always goes with. But the kind of the way I like to think about it, it's like wide, medium, tight. Every time I'm out on a photo assignment, I want to get wide shots, medium shots, and then like tights
Super
or like
tight.
like zoom.
Yeah.
And so the wide, I mean, typically a 14 mil. Sony's got a 14 mil f1.8. That's super good. Then like my mid range, sometimes it's just the 35. And then the zoom, for many years, I always brought the 70 to 200, 2.8. On my last photo assignment, I ended up swapping that one just to try it, but I got a Tamron 35 to 150. And yeah, that thing is pretty good. It might replace the 70 to 200, which I've raved about for many years. That's kind of my, years ago, I broke down, I kind of went through all of my published photography, and I was like, which lens produced the most published photos? And it was the 70 to 200 by
Really?
tenfold. It was like by a long
Not
shot.
even close.
Not even close. Yeah. So I was like, okay, there's something about like this focal range, or the look that you can get with that lens. But I'm like, okay, you can basically get the same exact look with a 35 to 150, but then you've got actually more like zoom range. You can go wide, which is nice, and it goes down to f2, which is nice. But anyway, we can really dive into the weeds on that. But as far as batteries, though, I mean, I typically do 2.5 to 3 batteries a day. So if I'm doing a 10-day hunt, I mean, that might be 30 batteries.
I'm right there with you. Yeah, it's about what my math looks like too.
Yeah.
What about mics? Because like on the audio side of things, on the video side of things, right? Like audio is 50% of the game, in my opinion. If you have bad audio, people are going to check out.
You can have the most gorgeous footage ever, but if the audio's trash, it can ruin it. In my opinion.
Oh yeah. 50% of video is audio.
Yeah.
The saying goes, and if your audio sucks, like people aren't gonna watch it. So yeah, I put a lot into the audio. Just the regular on-camera mics. I mean, if you film stuff, like it sounds tinny, like the wind noise sucks. Like it's not nice sounding audio like it is me talking into this mic right now. But anyway, so I usually do. I've got 2 mics. One's a shotgun mic that just mounts onto the top of the camera, and just plugs directly into the camera. Really awesome. That's kind of my go-to for most things. We were just doing a factory tour here at Weatherby. I had myself and Adam Weatherby, and for that, we had the camera mic'd up. So I had lavalier wireless lav mics attached to me and both me and Adam, and those are really nice because they really just capture like the voice that's like within like a foot of the camera. And when especially if you're in like a loud place, like we were in a factory, like there's so many like extra noises.
Doing the Rode or the DJI?
I've got the Rode wireless 2s.
Yeah.
I've had those for like 4 years.
They're great.
They're great. There's definitely some newer ones that have definitely cleaned up a few of the minor issues that I've had with them. But they work awesome.
Nice.
No, you guys got
No, I mean
this.
we can keep getting
I
nerdy
like
on
it.
the
I'm
gear.
over here listening and learning and doing all the things.
So the one other thing I get this question a lot is like, how do you protect your cameras from like rain and stuff? And so I think some of the most iconic images, or at least some of my favorite images to shoot, are those that are in really bad, gnarly weather.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine, I don't know, like say you're taking photos of your buddy and he's just hiking up a cool ridge. If it's like pretty and sunny and
Blue sky, yeah.
it's just like,
that's
pretty
cool.
photo. But it's like, okay, add like a sleet storm, or like, I say sleet because it shows up better in photos. but like, and then like the guy's got his hood up, and it, like you can
Some
see
dynamic clouds.
Yeah, some dynamic clouds. Like you can see in his face, he's like grimacing because he's getting pelted by rain. I was like, that is so much, like that is the most epic photo that you could get in that situation. And so I'm like, when the weather gets bad, like that's when you need to pull your camera out. You should already have it out, but you should definitely not
turn
put
it
the
on.
camera away. But yeah, a lot of people, when the weather gets bad, they're like, oh, I'm gonna put my camera away to protect it. I'm like, no. Like, and maybe this comes because I shoot a lot of imagery for like gear companies, and kind of the goal is to showcase their gear in gnarly weather. But just weather adds so much. So anyway, when I shoot in bad weather, I don't put them in like a, like some people are like, oh, do you take like an underwater housing? I'm like, absolutely not. Like those things weigh like 5 pounds.
Yeah.
I literally it's a glorified garbage bag over my camera. What are those things called? Optec rain covers, I think.
Yeah.
But
I need to get some. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like $2 a piece, and they just kind of have a hole on either end. You just slip your camera over, and you can shoot in bad weather. They're not waterproof, but like obviously don't jump into the ocean with that. But
most of the camera bodies that are over $2,000 have a decent level of weather sealing.
Totally, yeah. And if I know, I'm just like, okay, it's like small rain shower, like I have no problem just letting it get wet. Or if I know, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be back in like a house or a cabin this evening, like I won't really worry about it. But
yeah, they're definitely more weather tight than people who haven't used cameras a lot would think. Like they get pretty wet. I've actually fully dunked an A7 IV before on accident, and like had to set it out in the sun, and it was fine, and it still works to this day. But I don't suggest doing that. It's just it has happened.
Yeah, I think it feels counterintuitive, right? It's like some of those bodies get like $5,000, for a really nice camera body. Has typically really good weather sealing. If you're going to use a camera body that's that good, you're probably also going to use a lens that's pretty darn good that also has an equivalent level of weather sealing. But now all of a sudden you've got like $8,000 strapped to your neck, and you're like, well, I don't want this thing to get wet, but it actually can handle it way better than if it was a $2,000 setup total, probably. It's kind of funny how that works out.
Yeah. The biggest thing with like when you're shooting in inclement weather is like, so you're battling moisture buildup with inside the lens and fog. So like, do not switch your lenses in the gnarliest of conditions, because as soon as you like pull a lens off and open up like that seal, basically
you've broken the seal.
You've broken the seal. Yeah, moisture's gonna get in, and then you're gonna have like fog build up. Or like leave your camera outside. Don't bring it inside of a warm building or something, because it's gonna like fog up bad. So when you are shooting in inclement weather, that's kind of the one thing you really just got to be aware of. And yeah, investing in quality glass, like the really high end glass is gonna have weather sealing. Some of the less expensive, more budget options often won't. And yeah, you'll notice that when you're shooting in bad weather. You're like, oh my God, day 1 of 10, I already got fog inside my or moisture spot right in the middle of the lens. It's just like,
hosed.
So,
what is there a hunt that stands out as like the worst weather hunt that you've documented?
So for probably 5 years, probably 5 years in a row. So I got a bunch of guiding friends up in Canada, and they all love to hunt, but they're guides, so they don't really get to do much hunting because they're guiding. But British Columbia specifically. So in BC, you can get just a general mountain goat tag, and the tag is good from it's like August 1st through the end of February.
Wow.
And so obviously in August, September, October, November, all those guys are guiding. But then almost all of them, they're like, well, our Februaries.
What about me?
Yeah, what about me? Our Februaries are wide open. And so, yeah, I started tagging along on some guys. They do a winter mountain goat hunt in the month of February. You're on the southern, tip of Alaska, basically. But you're in BC, but you're pretty far north. There's a good 10 feet of snow on the ground. One year we did it. We got way up above Alpine, and I think one night it dropped down to about 30 below Fahrenheit. And
ouch.
You're just like surviving up there. And we ended up, my buddy Dustin Rowe shot a mountain goat with his bow. Thing ended up falling off a cliff, and it fell probably 3,500 feet to the bottom of the mountain.
Oh my.
And 2 days later, we were able to, we did this massive loop down, and we got down underneath him and recovered him. He lost a horn, so he packed out a one-horned goat. But
Yeah.
like 1,000-foot cliff, 500-foot
Better
cliff.
than a no-horned goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty well. So, as far as like gnarliest weather and everything about it is that one. Avalanche danger was just so high on those. It's the last year we went and did it.
You were in a transponder?
No, well, we do. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do actually. Yeah. But last year we went up there, we never left the valley floor in 8 days because I saw 13 like huge avalanches with my own eyes. Got some pretty sick photos of avalanches.
Oh, wow.
But it was just like, yeah, no goat's worth dying over. So we're like, yeah,
No.
we're good. So we found the widest spot in the valley, and we like had our rangefinders out. And we're like, okay, like let's figure out the exact widest point and let's pitch our tents there and not move.
So were you like using backcountry ski setup or snowshoes?
We were ski
Okay.
touring in there.
That's pretty rad.
It was pretty cool. So
That's
I could
next
ask
level.
a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. Tyler, what you got?
Man, I'm gonna go a little bit into like the business side. So I'm a marketing manager, right? And you do freelance things. So when you're approaching the hunt, do you like what is your strategy? Do you do like a deliverables? Do you have the meeting before? Because what I like about having Koby is no one knows the brand of Weatherby better than if you work here, right? So for me, it's really easy to be like, hey, we're going to do a content brief. This is all of our deliverables. But with you have some things that you need to juggle because you got a bunch of different brands. You're doing freelance. Maybe walk me through that creative process. Because you can get epic stuff, but if it's not the right stuff, so it's you got to manage your expectations, right, for your clients.
totally. And this is how it should work. I would say it's worked this way like 5% of the time. Usually things come together like the night before a hunt or a project or a couple weeks before. But like in the ideal world, you know, companies maybe launching some new products or something, and they're like, okay, we've decided these products jive really well with like this type of hunt that you are pitching or proposing. And then you work with the company and talk to the company about like, hey, what are some of like the feature points? What's like the number one selling point of XYZ product? And then like kind of merging those two in the field. So like obviously if it's rain gear, for example, if it's like a guide styled rain jacket that's like extra long and extra burly, like, oh, well, maybe like obviously you want it dumping rain. Maybe you want them like on a horseback thing, like just having a really good idea. Like, because basically what ends up happening is often it's like, hey, I'm going on this hunt, or like they've agreed to the hunt months in advance, and then like you don't get any feedback, and then like all of a sudden a week before the hunt they're like, oh, well, how about this and this. So that's the unfortunate reality, is it's mostly like that. But in an ideal setting, everything's kind of pre-planned and you've got a pretty good idea. But the other cool thing about hunting and hunting photography, and that's one thing I love about it, is like I'm not a product photographer. Like I don't just shoot product photos. Like I mean, yes, at the end of the day, like a lot of these brands that I work with they do sell products. They do need product photos. But like my goal is never really to get epic product imagery. It's just to get epic imagery on the hunt. And like there's so many things in hunting that happen that you could never pre-plan or like imagine that they're going to have happen. I remember like years ago, I was up in Canada on a moose hunt, and we were trailing like 18 horses across this big plateau. And I was leading 3 horses and also had I had 2 cameras on me, and I'm trying to hold on to the horse at the same time. But anyway, it's mid-September in the moose rut, and this moose comes walking right into our string. I mean, he was 5 yards away. It's pretty big. Well, he was big bull for lower 48 standards, but for BC standards, he was pretty small. But anyway, comes into 5 yards. And, like I got some kind of fun photos, and
Was this the one with the between the ears of the horse?
yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then eventually the moose he pushes out, and then we keep riding. And then I kind of see this shot developing. So the guide, he's like 200 yards out, and then the hunter's maybe 50 yards out. And then I'm at the back leading 3 horses. And then behind me is the wrangler leading like 10 or something. It was kind of a cluster. But anyway, this moose, he's like, oh, all these horses must be cows, like they're, or, female moose. So he's like, oh, I'm like, okay, he's coming back in. So he's coming, and he actually crosses right between the hunter so you got the hunter in the back, and then the moose in the middle, and then the guide like 100 yards beyond him. And I see this, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be sick, because you got all these 3 people or moose, whatever, in the same frame. And yeah, so with one hand, I pull up my big Canon 5D Mark III or whatever, and it doesn't have a silent shutter. And I've already learned that I'm like, ooh, my horse doesn't like when the lens goes, he starts bucking. And I'm like, this is like a once in a million shot that's about to develop. And then I'm leading 3 horses, and I'm like, well, I need to like hold on somehow. So I'm like, maybe if I just let go of the lead rope on this first horse, they won't even know that they're not being led anymore. So I do that, and then I just like hold on to the reins or whatever of my horse, and I'm just like pulling him back as hard as I can. He wants to just move up forward, and I start shooting, and this thing just starts bucking. And I ended up getting the shot. I out of the burst of 30 photos, I only had one that was perfectly in focus, and it happened to be like everything lined up perfect. But it's hunter in the back, and then like maybe 50 yards in front of the hunter is the moose, and then like 100 yards back is the guide. And it honestly looks like the moose is floating between, like the amount of people that have called Photoshop on that. I'm like, dude, that's fake. I'm like, that is not fake. That is exact. And there just happened to be kind of a hill, but that was shot with a 70-200. And I mean, that photo has been, I mean, if you go to Sitka and Bozeman, it's like it's like on their doorway when you walk in. So anyway, back to like product shoots and that type of thing, and planning shoots. Like there's just so many crazy things that happen out there that you could never really imagine. And so for me personally, that's what gets me fired up to like be a photographer and go have these experiences. Like, yes, I understand we need to get product shots of products, but like it's like those are the types of moments that I want to capture.
That's cool.
And I mean, the beauty thing of that one, I mean, again, I was on that project for Sitka, and it's like, well, both people were wearing Sitka, like they obviously love that photo. Yeah. Like maybe you could have AI generate it now, but it's like that is a pretty unique thing that can only happen in hunting.
That's rad.
This is something that you kind of told me once. It's like, man, to get epic photos, you gotta go do epic things. So it's just like, honestly, a lot of it is time.
Oh, dude, totally.
You gotta go. You gotta do it. You gotta take some risks. You gotta go.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
All right, this could be for both of you guys. Maybe to somewhat in closing, but somewhere out there's probably a 18 to 24-year-old guy or girl that's like, man, I want to do this. What would be your advice to them? That's like, how do I get into this? What do you think?
I think finding a mentor is a big deal.
Damn it, I was going to say that.
Well, I mean, I got one of mine right here, so I'm pretty fortunate that we've turned into good friends over the years. But I think finding someone to help you along the way and answer some of those questions that are very unknown when you're starting out is a big deal. And then, like, basically what you just said is put fuel in the gas tank and go do something, go places. Don't buy extra lenses. Like, I ran a 24-70 and a 14 super cheap Samyang 14 millimeter for years after I upgraded from I started a Nikon D3300 kit lenses from Costco, had that for years. I still have some of my favorite landscape photos I've ever taken were on that camera. So it's like what camera you use
didn't hold you back.
Yeah. But just get a good setup that's going to work for you and go places. And then on alongside of the mentor thing is one of the places I found that when I started growing the most is when I got out with like-minded individuals, right? When I got out with people who wanted to go hard in the mountains and also were photographers and capturing stuff, because you bounce ideas off each other and you see how they see things, you see their perspective, and then you provide your perspective to them. And so I think that there was a lot of growth in that time of my life when I found a couple landscape photographers from Missoula, Logan and Jordan Leffler, great fellas. And because I grew up in Deer Lodge, Montana, where no one else did what I did. Like, small town of 3,000, like probably a couple portrait photographers there that are older than me and stuff.
Yeah,
but
shooting film.
Yeah. No, so I think that those are some key points that I had along my career path. So
Nice.
Well, if it was gonna bounce around to me, I was gonna say add to Kobe's is like building that community, but then make sure you're like accountable and go above and beyond. Because just think of even like since you started here, I remember you'd still get hit up for a freelance thing, but then you'd like recommend a good buddy. Right?
Yeah.
So like if you're gonna be part of that community, make sure you're like reliable.
yeah,
too.
absolutely, because
Like if you're gonna recommend someone, you're not gonna recommend someone that you went on the trip with, and that guy is not good.
Yep.
So always, every day's an interview, even if you're hanging out with your buddies.
That's right.
totally
true.
agree with that.
Yeah.
What would you add to that, Steven?
I mean, to get epic content, you got to do epic stuff.
Yeah.
Like, plain and simple. Like, mediocrity is not going to cut it. And, like, I was lucky in my, like, when I first, like, literally my first ever photo assignment, I went up to the Yukon and helped trail horses 200 miles across between the Yukon and NWT.
Wow.
Like, we had 2 horses die. Like, just, like, the most epic, wild, thing ever.
That's about as remote as you can get.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like, go do epic stuff. Spend money on plane tickets, not on lenses. Like, just take, like, literally, like, don't buy a camera gear. Just make sure you got an iPhone or whatever phone you use. Just get out there and create and go do epic things. That's pretty much, if you want to, like, stand out, because it is very competitive and there's a lot of people that do what we do. There's a lot of people that shoot deer and elk, like photography and video. And it's just like, well, if you want to stand out, like, go do something else. Go photograph something that nobody else is doing, and get on some big wild mountain hunts. That's basically that's what I did.
Yeah.
Piggyback off that slightly is
worked.
like, don't try and like copy someone either, because like
From like stylistically.
take parts and pieces from it, but like if you're copying someone, that's not authentically yourself.
Yeah.
And as a photographer, and especially a freelancer, like, you're selling yourself as much as you're selling your work, I believe. Like, you have to be a good person, and you have to have your values and beliefs, and like let that show through your work. And I think that that's a big deal, because if you get on an assignment that is epic and stuff, and a brand's paying you, and you've been copying a certain style, and then that just doesn't work in that moment, like, you have to fall back on what you know and how you think, I believe. So it takes a while to find your style, and it's ever evolving. But
It's kind of wild when I jump on Instagram, especially. Like, I can just look at a photo. I don't even know, like, doesn't have to have a name. And I can be like, oh, so-and-so took that one. Oh,
Totally.
Koby took that one. Oh,
Yep.
like a friend Bianca, I'm like, she has a very unique style. I'm like, she took that one. Like, you can just tell. But, like, everybody does kind of, like, after a while, you do kind of have your own style. But, I mean, yeah, it's totally great to
cool.
look for inspiration in places. And,
Yeah.
you know, for me early on, it was, like, wedding photography was honestly my go-to for, like, looking for inspiration, because there wasn't really any other inspiration within hunting. And I was like, like, some of what these wedding photographers are doing is actually really cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. Some of the things that set a really good wedding photographer apart is not the couple's picture or the classic, like, walking down the aisle pic. It's like the really creative stuff that happens during a wedding, but not what everybody would think of as a wedding.
Totally.
Yeah.
So,
Just like you were describing the hunt. That's a cool perspective.
yeah, I mean, one final thing for me is, like, when I'm out of my comfort zone, like, that's when cool content happens.
Yeah.
And
Like being on a horse that you don't like, that doesn't like a shutter.
yeah, or just, like, being in the mountains, or just, like, well, actually, me being in the mountains, I'm very in my element, so it's maybe that doesn't apply, but like just, yeah, I mean, putting yourself outside your comfort zone. I mean, anytime that I'm on something like that and I take photos in that, I'm like, ooh, I know these photos are going to be epic. But if it's, like, flat, or if it's like, man, I'm not, if I'm not inspired, I get inspired when things get a little Western.
Yeah.
That's a really fun time to take photos. And if things don't get Western, I'm just like, man, these aren't as
Kind of boring.
kind of boring. Yeah. So, yeah, live an epic life and your photos will probably follow suit. So,
Are you afraid because of Kobe's mullet that he might surpass you now?
he's got his own look. I'm gonna let him have that one. So.
yeah.
Totally kidding. Great getting to know you a little more through that, and understanding your background and sharing Well, I think every photographer, videographer that we've talked to has some common elements. And what's cool to me is like everybody's open and sharing. It's like, I don't want to tell anybody because what if they do it? It's like, no, this is exactly how I do it. But I think really what sets you apart, and we've talked about this with Koby, is the attitude, because you're basically talking about going to that level 2, level 3 fun.
Yeah.
Where it's like, this is terrible in the
Well,
moment.
level 3 is crying. I've not been there before. Close.
But that's really where those epic moments happen. When
Absolutely.
it's in the moment, this sucks.
Yeah, it's those moments with like emotion, right?
Yeah.
There's like a picture that I actually took of you. It was
Yeah.
it was in a span of like 10 seconds, but like after you shot your bear this year, you went through like happy, like reverence, like it was crazy. There was like a full string of just you. Like there was so much emotion in your face where you went from crazy excited to like relief to thankful to, it's pretty cool. So it's like when you get those emotions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are some of the best shots you've taken. You've been learning good.
Yeah.
We'll just have to get
Were
your
they in
video.
focus, though?
I was gonna say, we just got to get his
Yeah.
video in
Okay,
focus.
video. Yeah.
Yeah. His photos are solid. We just got to get the video in focus now.
Yeah.
But
Man, Weatherby is proud to work with you a little bit, and I think that a big part of our story has kind of been the storytelling and imagery for the last 80 years, and we continue to do that. We got Koby, you, and others that we're really proud to work with, and I think it's just pretty cool, the synergies there. So thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, appreciate it.